Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Dan French. This is Wealthytainment. Today, we have a good one to talk about today. We're going to talk about Ron DeSantis and some of the things that's going on in Florida and how this could turn into problems potentially. We'll give our opinion on these two articles that we came across to talk about lab-grown meat and also foreign national or different origins being denied to buy either land or residential properties or homes in Florida, and how this could be a controversy. So let's get right into this, Chris, and let's talk about the problems, and then we'll give our opinion. Chris, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm well, brother. It's always a pleasure for us to shoot these perspectives back and forth. And healthy debate is always good, healthy perspective. So let's get right into it, brother. I'm ready.
Let's get into it, man. So lab-grown meat. Okay, let's talk about that. There's a lot of things out there that, I don't want to get too far into what we do know and not know. And, are we eating stuff that we really don't understand or know about? We all just go into a store like, a grocery store and pick out things. We think it's organic. Lab grown meat, though, okay, is that something that could be a problem for a lot of people that are saying, well, that's artificial? Do we really want to eat that? And do we even know if that's going to have a good or bad impact on our bodies? What do you think about that with that down there, that he's actually banned lab grown meat? Is that a good thing or bad thing, Chris?
So I I think it's a good thing. But here's where I see why stop there? Like ban anything that's artificial in that sense, right? Because meat is not the only thing out there that's been modified to a degree of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're starting to clone vegetables and fruits, and you're not even eating natural things that were grown from the ground, right? Naturally, in its natural form and state. So yes, I think it's a start. You have to start somewhere at lab grown meat. If I had the option to eat a real burger that came from a cow or some modified petri dish that came off a petri dish in a lab that was made into a burger, of course I would pick the natural 100%, Angus beef burger. I mean, no question. The food industry overall is horrible. It's like the meat, this lab grown meat thing is the least of all of the concerns that go into the food industry. So if he's going to start there, he gets a success in that. Then if I were him, if he really wants to protect
Right.
the state of Florida and their residents, then start attacking anything that's artificial, from processed foods to candies and anything that's been modified in a sense, ban it all.
Well, processed meat is a form of, I wouldn't say it's lab grown, but it's a form of being processed. It's not purest to its form, right? I would think that if you looked at that, with a lot of health issues have led from um, fast food and processed meats and processed just foods in general, it's not meant for our body. I mean, you got to think that for me, even to have the idea, like people always say, well, how do you know this? And your body will tell you, and your body obviously needs certain nutrients. Are you going to get the nutrients from lab grown meat? Is your body going to react to the same as, say, if you were going to eat a burger or eat a steak, something like that? That could be a problem, I think, for a lot of people. And I think Florida, they kind of they go to the beat of their own drum. So, Ron DeSantis, man, he's out there. He was a guy that was running for presidency against Trump, and he backed out knowing that he probably would lose. But he does have his own agenda, or at least the state and the peers around him have their own agenda on how they run that state. You know, um, do you feel that this is something that's going to be a start to a bigger thing in Florida and maybe across the country for just lab grown meat? Is it going to be banned in other states?
I think it should be. As a matter of fact, as I was doing some brief research, I think Nebraska is going to be the second state that's going to jump on board. And
Well,
as a
Nebraska, though,
governor,
man, let me say this. Nebraska's got how many, like, they're the mecca of cows and beef, right? You'd have to think. So obviously they would. But I mean, do people really care, or is this really going to make big news for people out there that lab grown meat is not produced in a specific state, or they just don't care?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about the overall spectrum of
Yeah.
caring and not caring, then I would say they don't. No, because then people wouldn't make the decisions they make now with what they consume. Like there's people that do things now that they know is not good for them, and they still do it. So would there be people who care enough to know they're eating lab grown meat? Probably not. But when you're in a position of leadership and you see that something is damning for the people and something that's not for the people in terms of in a positive path moving forward for generations to come, then that's why you're put in a position of leadership to make the decisions for your community and for your state, so, or
Then
your
why do?
family. I could just be the head of my household
Yeah.
and not like lab grown meat, and let's just say that's sold in my state and they haven't banned it. Well, then I have the option to whether I'm going to decide to buy that for my family or not. So it becomes down to that, what your belief system is, and if you're going to uphold that or not.
I mean, what if your kids were like, hey, you know what? I want to, I'm going to eat. A lot of food out there is already processed. We don't know what that processing, process is of like how they, go through that and make sure. But a lot of the meat, the fish, a lot of the stuff that you eat, or at least you can always get organic. But is it really organic?
Would
A
you
lot of
eat
people have
this?
that question.
It's meat,
It's a
but I
sensitive
guarantee
subject,
you it's
and I
like no
think
meat you've
for a
ever
lot of
seen
people
before.
to have
That's
something
because
grown
this
in a
stuff
lab,
was grown from cells in a lab.
I think it's just
Clean
kind of
meat
like one of those
is
things
meat
that's so
grown
uncertain.
by cell culture
There's not
rather
a lot
than
of data,
grown
a
by.
lot of information. Is it actually health benefits to it? Are you going to get the nutrients that you would? Our bodies do need meat. I mean, do you want to consume a large amount of meat? I don't know. That's per person, but I think you look at it, our bodies do need meat. Could our bodies adapt to something like lab grown meat?
Well, our bodies are a fascinating structure, first and foremost, in creation. So, yes, do I think it would adapt over time? 100%. Because the food that's
Really?
being consumed now, well, yeah, because the food that's being consumed now is not anywhere as near as healthy as it once was, let's just say 100 years ago. And the body is adapting now to certain
Well,
pollutions, to certain
mm-hmm.
uh, genetically modified, or people are consuming more sugar, more carbs. Now, granted, the United States, at least from the data, and probably the world as a whole, is a lot heavier than they were just a few decades ago, several decades ago. So that lets you know that there's people are less unhealthy now than overall than they were at one point. So the bodies are adapting to more food that's not as beneficial to the body. Would it have adapted to the lab grown meat? Well, I don't know, because we don't know what's going into the structure of the lab grown meat. So that's a little hard to decipher and discover. I don't know that. I just know me knowing that it's been lab grown. I wouldn't care what the benefits they said were in it. I wouldn't eat it because it's not natural.
Right. That's kind of where I'm going. I'd have to disagree with you on that because I think that our bodies wouldn't adapt. I think we would eat it, and then over time, there's a lot of speculation out there, but I think when you look at all the processed meats and foods and everything that we have to produce it at a mass level, because the population just keeps growing, yes, we are adapting, but I think a lot of health issues and health risks come from that. You got a lot of the cancers and a lot of different just health problems that people have I think are derived right from what you put in your body. And I think it's going to be something that if we went down that road, we would probably have more health issues. And I guarantee pharmaceutical companies and all these places that, hospitals, they're going to love that because now you're going to feed more into, hey, you know what? Now there's more health issues, more health risks, more health problems. That means more money in the pharmaceutical pockets and then, big pharma. So for me, I'm going to disagree with that, Chris. I think he's right on. I think Ron DeSantis is doing a good thing, and I hope they all follow where they just ban this altogether. Matter of fact, there's no reason why we need to have processed food in the beginning. You know, when's the last time you went down and had a burger like let's say a Carl's Jr. or some type of fast food restaurant? When's the last time you did that?
I mean, I don't particularly eat like Carl's Jr. I know what you're asking though.
Yeah, when's the
Fast
last
food.
time you went? Right.
I would say probably about a month ago.
Okay. I rarely go there. And I think a lot of people do that because they're on budget, unfortunately. And is there a place
Oh
for it?
no, it's
Sure.
convenience. It's convenience.
It's
Fast food is no
convenience.
longer, but yeah, it's no longer budget friendly as it once was. It's for convenience because it's
Well,
quick.
so I'm bringing that up, and I think the reason is looking at this situation is um, you're going to have a lot of health issues. I feel from coming from those fast food places because they got to sell cheaper meat, cheaper processed items to make a bigger profit, or at least make a margin of profit. And you're just, most of these people, I think a lot of the health issues that they're looking at, it's not just fast food, but it's also if you're doing that and then you don't have any type of exercise, you're not, feeding your body at least some nutrients, you're going to have issues. And I feel that it would just have more issues. I think Ron DeSantis is right on. And I hope they start looking at all of these processed meats and everything with this lab grown meat and declining that. You have anything else to say about that?
Nah, brother. Let's just hope that he can set the tone for the other senators and governors of other states to get this to where it's not even a thing anymore, and then it would be illegal to even sell lab grown meat
Yeah.
because no state would be on board. So, yeah, we can wrap it up with that.